The third guest I want to introduce again is someone very different. He used to be an IAS officer, and he got so irritated with what was happening around things like Citizenship Amendment Act, the Article 370, that he gave up what he was doing to join politics. And in fact, 45-year-old Sasikanthsenthil won from the Lok Sabha seat of Tiruvallur in Tamil Nadu by the highest margin, 5,72,155 votes. A 2009 batch IAS officer, when Article 370 was removed, he said, I want to give up my job as Deputy Commissioner of the Dakshin Kannada district in Karnataka, and that's when he decided to join politics. Sasikant, you've got many fans and some detractors. Your fans say this is what a modern day politician should be. Driven by principle, opposing what a government was doing, deciding to take a political plunge over issues like CAA and Article 370. Your detractors say he was a politically ambitious and motivated officer from the first day. This is what he wanted to do from the very beginning. He just chose a politically opportune time to take the political plunge. Which one is it? Were you actually so irked by some of the government's decisions, or did you have politics and the Congress at the back of your mind from the beginning?
Thank you, Rahul, and thank you, India Today, and best wishes to all my panelists. I think this is the biggest problem. This word politics has been so demonized, and it means different things to different people. It meant something to me also, but then my biggest learning is all of us are political, and we have always been political. The day we start walking on a public road, we are already political. The day we start discussing political issues, performance of government, aren't we political? I think for the last 50 years, we have systematically moved away from mainstream politics. My parents never asked me to become a politician. I always wanted me to become an IAS officer, never a politician. I think that is the crisis that we are facing right now. We don't have enough people in mainstream politics. And I think that's absolutely important that we start reversing this process. And I think,
But you didn't answer my question.
I understood your question. So my point
You understood my question and dodged the question. ये दूर जाएगा भाई politics में, समझ में भी आ गया और dodge भी कर दिया.
This is not a dodging. I'm very clear. From birth, every one of us is political. I am also political. You are also political. Just because you're an anchor doesn't mean that you're not political. Right? So we are all political. Don't we agree on that? We have to agree. But the point is, whether you want to get into electoral mainstream politics, I think this is the crisis that we are facing right now. It's a cool thing to say that we are not political, right? We belong to an NGO, we are a journalist, but I don't think that's the right thing to say. We are all political. I think we have to own it up. If somebody is interested in mainstream politics, I think that is something which is absolutely necessary right now.
Veer, what do you not like about Senthil? What would you like to change and why?
Yeah, I would go the same thing what Eduvir said. See, today,
there's a big difference between having, say, older spokespeople and younger. You guys are so cordial and nice to each other. ये थोड़ा अपने seniors को भी बता दो कि अच्छा है.
मसाला नहीं बन रहा.
Everybody is saying, no, look, I agree with what the other person is saying. Yes.
Okay, so I think political organizations have made it very tough for youngsters to come inside. The organizations have structured themselves in such a way that any youngster who is interested political is just pushed back. There are many things, money, power, the way you dress, the way you travel, the way you get a VIP treatment, the way you are treated specially. Everything pushes common people away from political organizations. I think that is one thing I want to break. I really want to break that structure of, some image, one unnecessary image that we have created about this politics.
How will you break it? In some ways, your entering politics and winning is actually proof of that. But beyond that, how would you like to break it?
No, see, there is a culture built in a system. You know what is a politician. That is the reason behind you asked me this question. Senthil, you were an IAS officer first, you broke and became a politician. From my perspective, there's no difference. The question you really wanted to ask was, were you ethical when you were an IAS officer? Yes, I was ethical. And that is the reason I got out. And I couldn't do the same thing what I had to do inside the service. And I wrote that in my letter also. But the point that I'm trying to make is, political organizations, the space, the discussion has become very opaque in a very different way. Like say, for example, an organization conducts an event. It's so gala that, Common people, common youngsters, somebody who's coming from the village will never try to get there, right? I think that is something which we have to break by the way we conduct ourselves. That is one thing.
No, I have a suggestion for how you can get there. If you come from Alwar, you come from a Zilla Parishad, you win a Lok Sabha election and there you are on the stage.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's one way of getting
And
there.
even if you are coming from a very privileged space, the way you conduct yourself, and the way you structure your organization also matters. I think that's largely that we have to work upon. Second thing is that, you know, we have stopped these discussions and debates in a very positive way. And we are going towards very frivolous discussions, you know, whether the laddu has this and that. I don't think these are the discussions that is required. We have a very, very, very tough time ahead. We are a very imbalanced society. We really need to bring people together. I think that's where all the political parties have to work on those common agendas. I think that basic nicety in discussing the real issues, I think is something which we have to make sure. And I think that we can generally have, it can happen, provided, as you rightly said, more people start coming inside the system. And then you don't push them away. That's also very important.
ये तो बहुत बाब्स मारते भाई हमने आपको बुलाया यहाँ पे you are saying we are pushing you away this is interesting but anyways अब सेंथिल का देखते हैं will he be honest and tell us whether he sees himself at the center in a potential UPA government as minister as a reviving the Congress in Tamil Nadu where do you see yourself say 15 years from now don't give us like a Mr. World kind of answer.
My fight is very clear. In next 5 years, you know, I have to be in a settled place, chilling, not worrying about this hate politics going on in this country, who is talking about which community is going to fight with which community. I really want to go back to my school days. You know, I really want to be in a place, be in India, where we don't, you know, just keep fighting every day about which community, this community, that community. I think I'm fed up of it.
Are you saying you've come to politics only for 5 years? After this, you're retiring to the beach?
Absolutely. This fight is the fight. Whatever is going on right now in the country is an ideological fight. It is no more a political fight. It is an ideological fight. India is fighting. We will fight towards that. And we'll get back to the space, the India that I grew up in. I am sitting here in this position because of that politics. If I don't defend what I came from, then there's no point. I think that is my primary thing. That's my only thing right now.
So what do you want to do? What are you fighting?
We will, of course, the whole country is fighting what is going on. The whole divide people on communities, divide people and then just get a political, just for a political purpose. Today our social fabrics is in a very bad shape.
In the India is marching with greater purpose. India's place at the global high table is higher than it was on your watch.
Which India? Which India are you talking about?
The India
talking
that
about, you're talking about the India which is bulldozed without any rhyme or reason. You're talking about the hundreds and thousands of people who are just not having any voice in this country, who we don't represent. See, I think, you know, we have to talk about the big elephant in the room, right? Just talking about political parties.
What is the big elephant in the room?
The big elephant is this hate politics that you have brought in. A majoritarian system that you have brought in into a very secular,
Shambhavi, your
versatile,
accused of majoritarianism.
A diverse country.
You're dividing the country.
कोई दंगे नहीं होते इनके यहाँ पे दंगे होते रहते कोई कुछ नहीं बोलता और हम लोग को अक्यूज किया जाता है दंगों के आप बिहार को देख लो एनडीए की सरकार है वहाँ पे पिछले 15 साल से कितने दंगे हुए आप उठा के देख लो
I don't understand what she speaks because I don't understand Hindi that much. But then I can understand she's saying something. But all I'll have to make her tell everybody is
I will translate
today,
for you after the show.
Yeah, today the country is going through a crisis. There is a huge amount of people in this country who are insecure, who are made insecure by a certain kind of politics. You might get political advantage out of it, but that is not doing any good to our social fabric. We'll have to understand that. That is a danger to you, me, everybody in this country. And if we don't realize that, India as a structure is very difficult to survive. We have to understand we have a constitution and the values of the constitution is what we have to live.